7 keys to YouTube success. With nearly 80 million views on this channel at the point of this recording, in a niched vertical like real estate investing, I get a fair number of questions on, Phil, what are your secrets to your YouTube success? Are you doing certain tricks? Well, as you're soon going to discover, it's nothing real fancy. It's tried and true principles that can apply to anyone that is interested in reaching an audience of customers that need to be better educated. So these tips are not going to work if you're producing an entertainment YouTube channel. I'm not trying to entertain, I'm trying to educate. And that's because my customer base, those people that I'm working with as a mentor and as a coach, they need to be better informed so they can make the best decision. But you might be in a similar situation. You might be a real estate investor, real estate agent. You might be an inspector, an appraiser. You might be an insurance agent. You might own a retail store. And you might need to educate your customer better so they can make the most informed decision. And that's where these keys come from that context. Now, I will admit, I've never taken a course, I've never gone to a conference, I've never watched a video, I've never done any education on how to have a successful YouTube channel. I kid you not. I really came to the world of YouTube not because I had any intent of creating a successful channel. I did it because it was the best medium for communicating the lessons I was trying to teach. It was better than a blog post. And people were more entertained by video. And also I discovered from some people that saw me speak on stage, they said, Phil, whatever it is that someone needs to have to be a good public speaker, you have it. But I didn't want to travel when I was having, when I got married and had children, I didn't want to travel across the universe speaking. And so YouTube became a much better medium for this. Okay, so let's dive into the 7 keys to YouTube success if your goal is to educate your customer and your audience. Number 1 is unchanging purpose. What's the purpose for you to even have a YouTube channel? For me, I was getting more and more tired of the length it took for me to create a very cogent and well-written blog post. And I found that a YouTube video was a lot faster. In fact, back in those days, they had these things called flip cams, if you ever remember those. And all I had to do was click a button, and voila, the video would start. And so if you look at some of my older videos, they're pretty grainy, and the production value is pretty terrible. And that's because it was such a cheap camera. But it worked great for me because it allowed me to do what my purpose was. And that was to provide the best possible information on the subject of real estate investing in the best medium possible. So I didn't go after likes, I didn't go after subscribership, I didn't go after views. I went after my purpose of providing great content. Now, in fact, some people have made the point, Phil, you have so many more views in perspective or in contrast to your subscribership. And that's right, it's because a lot of times I even forget to ask for subscribers. And you've seen the other videos on YouTube, subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. I don't do that, it's not my purpose. And furthermore, it's about having an unchanging purpose. Stick to it, and as we'll talk about a little bit more, YouTube gets better over time. And so it's kind of like a fine wine. So if you stick to the same purpose, it's going to grow and grow and grow. All right, so that's number 1, unchanging purpose. Number 2, this one kicks out a lot of people from having a YouTube channel. Know your subject. My argument is you should know your subject as good or better than anyone else. And so you can be on a local level, you can be a local real estate investor and know your market better than anyone else, but you need to really understand your subject very well. Because first of all, our digital age has so much crappy information out there that we really want to put out the best. Second, when the people watching, you don't all know who's watching, and they might be experts, and you don't want to look like a fool because they'll make you look like a fool. So don't. You know your subject. And it also helps when you know your subject because you build more credibility with your audience. They can see it. It's a lot more than just a blog post. They can see in your eyes, they can see in your body language. They know if you know what you're talking about. So know your subject. Number 3 is quality over quantity. I'm a big proponent of this. I could be completely wrong about it, but I have discovered that with YouTube, if you focus on the best of the best, you give yourself the best opportunity to potentially have a video go, quote, viral or just really take off. And some of my videos have done that, and I've sometimes been surprised by which ones people love the most. But there's been a lot of videos I've never posted. I've shot a whole lot more videos than are posted. I will put together a video. I will then watch it a week later and make sure it's epic. And if it's not, I just trash it. I might change the topic altogether. I might redo it. But here's the key. I want people to know that if they see one of my videos, they know they get quality. It makes a huge difference in today's digital age where there's so much information. So that is somewhat of a complaint I get. I don't put out videos as much as others do. That's right. But you know when you're watching mine, you're getting the good stuff. So, quality over quantity. Number 4 is fine wine content. What I mean by that is you want to produce content that will get better over time, so that when people watch it a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, it'll hopefully still be relevant and it will get better and better. Because see, the way the YouTube algorithm works is as people watch it, then it becomes something that YouTube recommends to others and to others and to others and to others, and it begins to grow. Now, this is very different from things like Facebook and other social media platforms where it's all about getting that instant, where you try to get it to go real fast. This is very different. This is about what I call evergreen content as well. That's the phrase I like to use. So fine wine content, let it get better over time. What that means, though, is you have to select your topics carefully. If you only focus on topics that are going to expire in a few days, you might get an initial bump because a lot of people want to see what Trump just did or just whatever just did, right? You get an initial boost, but then it fizzles out. And then a year from now, nobody ever wants to watch it because it's just completely outdated. Whereas if you create content that's evergreen, that's like a fine wine, over time it gets better. I have a video that was put out 10 years ago. 10 years ago. And it's still relevant. In fact, people watch it and go, oh my goodness, 10 years later, this guy nailed it. But it keeps getting more and more views, right? So if you look at it, it's like planting a whole bunch of almond trees, right? Where as they grow, you get more and more almonds, and you have more trees and more almonds, and it just keeps going. It keeps getting bigger year after year after year after year. So that's where fine wine content comes into play. It's not only that it's quality, but it's designed in such a way where it won't expire real quickly. Number 5 is original content. You need to be creative, but you need to come from your own place. I get that a lot from people. They say, Phil, it's just when I watch your videos, there's such a unique perspective. It's kind of a different place from everybody else. Well, it's because I focus on the real world of real estate investing. I don't read other people's real estate investing books. I don't watch other gurus' videos. I get questions sometimes, Phil, what do you think of this person? And I'll say, I've never heard of them, because I haven't. I'm too busy doing deals, right? And so come from an original place so that your content is original. You don't want to duplicate or regurgitate anybody else, because you want the people to think of you as a unique source of great ideas, and they're going to know who you are. You kind of brand yourself because of your original thought and creativity. That's where you really get that increase in subscribership, if you will, is because people start to really get endeared to you because they know you come from a unique perspective. And how do you come from a unique perspective? Focus on the business you're in and get really good at it in the real world. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Focus on you, because then you'll come up with unique ideas and creative tips that other people have never heard before. And that's where ours come from. Number 6 is be engaging. Unfortunately, the YouTube audience has a very short attention span. So you've got to keep them engaged in your video. Now, for me, I'm always like this. This is literally my personality all the time. And so I was born this way. People say I have a gift for this stuff. So if you're not like me and born with it, well, then you're going to have to learn it, right? And you can maybe go to a Toastmasters, and you can learn to public speak. Another thing great about YouTube is you can use the technology to creatively edit your video, so you're always kind of moving the audience around and keeping them in a position where they're always engaged, right? It doesn't always have to be that you're a great public speaker. Either way, you got to keep them connected, because otherwise they're going to jet out and they're going to be gone. In fact, some people have already probably left this video before they heard this little tip. Number 7, I've saved the best for last. Know your audience. So Travis Tritt, one of my favorite country music artists, he was in an interview, and the person asked, they said, how have you been able to maintain such a fervent fanship, being that you made all of your success in the early 90s? That's when he had a bunch of his big hits in country music. And that was back when he had a mullet. So any of you mullets out there, love your hairstyle. So he's been 25 years since then, and he's still packing out his concerts, and he has a huge following. So the question was, how did he do that? And here's his answer. He said, you know, when I first got started, some old timers in the industry told me that I needed to learn who my audience was. And then if that audience, if he understood who they were, and of course what music he loved, he needed to stay there in that lane, not go out and create a whole new album of bluegrass and a new album that's going to try to be a pop album, but to stay right in his lane. And that, of course, for him was marrying rock with country music. So he did that, and of course he's been highly successful. Now, how do you learn who your audience is? You respond to comments. I have responded to my own comments for 10 years. I don't know how many millions of comments there are at this point, but it's instant feedback on your videos. It's extremely educational in a lot of different ways, and ultimately it helps you learn your audience. It helps you come up with new ideas for new original content. They'll ask things in comments and say, hey, could you put together a video about this? And that may spur some ideas for you. So you learn your audience by responding to all your comments. Don't sub that out to some assistant. Do it yourself. It makes all the difference in the world. And then once you've learned your audience, continue to produce content that flows with what you love, what you know, and what you know your audience is going to appreciate. And that makes a huge impact. Now, what that means, though, is you're not going to please everyone. You're going to have some haters. I've got a lot of haters, believe it or not. In fact, I put together a pretty good video on how to handle hatred, because you get plenty of hatred on YouTube. I don't know why. I mean, I'll put together a video on real estate and get people just incredibly insulting. I don't know why. But I guess it's just part of the YouTube stratosphere. Either way, hatred is a good thing if you are producing a YouTube channel, because it means you're doing something right. Huh? What does that mean? Well, going back to Nashville, a good friend of mine, his father was one of the more successful producers in country music history. He's the one who brought Dolly Parton into light, and Roy Orbison, and Chris Christopherson, and so many other names. And he knew he had a star on his hands when that person had as many haters as fans. You have to have some antagonists, right, in order for you to have something special out there. So don't be upset if you have a couple of haters. Know who your audience is and tailor to them. All right, well, I'm Phil Pustiowski with Freedom Mentor. I know this video didn't have a whole lot to do with real estate investing, but in a way it does. Some of my more successful apprentices have very successful YouTube channels, driving motivated seller traffic to them. But a lot of you watching my videos are a part-time real estate investor, but then you have your own side business, and that business could also benefit from you having a successful YouTube channel that displays these keys that I've shared with you. And either way, I hope this has been beneficial to you. If you want to learn more about real estate investing, well, I've got a great book I give away for free on these videos, How to Be a Real Estate Investor. And in fact, I usually have given away the book as opposed to searching for subscribers. So that might be another reason why I have less subscribers, because I focus on people getting a free copy of my book instead. And also, if you want to become a very successful real estate investor, consider my apprentice program, where my team and I mentor and coach people, turn them into money-making machines. More about that up here. And back to the haters, if you haven't already, check out that video on how to overcome hatred, because if you're going to have a successful YouTube channel, you have to deal with that. All right, well, I'm Phil Pustiowski again. Thanks so much for watching this video. Any comments? Love to hear them, and I'll see you on the next one.